There's so much to being like an artist that's different than just being, say, a working actor. You know, for instance, for me, I consider myself, an artist within the acting profession I have. And for instance, like I did Jimi Hendrix, and I locked myself away for a few months with my good friend Saul Williams. Didn't have a television. Well, I had a TV, but it didn't work. It only worked to play VHSs, and all I had was stuff that Jimi Hendrix would see, or I didn't listen to contemporary music. I didn't listen to hip hop for 4 to 6 months. Well, the whole time I shot Jimi Hendrix, I just didn't listen to stuff I liked, or but if he liked it, I listened to it, and it made me find like classic rock. Now it's like a lot of shit. Like now I can really dig that kind of stuff. But commitment is the main thing. Like I'm committed to the process. Like I'm committed to finding what I need to find. Like you're searching as an artist. You don't always know. You're not supposed to always know. You think a painter knows exactly the next thing they're gonna do on the canvas? They don't always know. And nor does a jazz player. You can't control everything, and sometimes the off note or the miss note made the song better. So it's about the commitment you have. I was very committed to every role I get. But the Jimi Hendrix thing can really give you an example of it. I locked myself away for 4 months in my boy crib. The crib was like 900 square feet, maybe. Nobody else was there. He had painted murals all over the crib, so his crib was full of murals. The inside the living room was like being inside of a rose, so the walls were all rose colored and like that's very difficult for me to explain. But Saul Williams is the friend I'm talking about. He's a great artist, and I didn't have contemporary music. I was committed to it. I only looked at what he saw. So that's to me the most important thing. Once you know what you want to do, you just kind of stay committed to it as an artist. As an artist. Yeah, I was truly bugging. Like even at the time, I got rid of my whole wardrobe. That's funny when I think about it. Yeah, and then I had to go try to buy shit that looked like Jimi Hendrix would wear. So I literally was getting like blouses and shit, dog. Like shit was crazy, bro. Wearing shit I never would wear. And then like 2 months after we finished, I thought I was just gonna like that shit. I was like, man, what the fuck? Where my clothes at, yo? I got bell bottoms on. This shit made out of velvet. What is this, velvet? I was like, shit. I was walking around like him and stuff. My posture was completely like, it was just different. But I was committed. I was committed, and I really learned from that process too. Like, oh shit, you got to do this all the time. I don't care if I'm Ace from Paid in Full, right? I got to commit to that. And he walk a certain way, talk a certain way. I don't want to be like that, but I'm able to do that for months on end with commitment. So yeah, so that's kind of what it is, a great commitment to whatever you are putting your passion toward. You want to stay over there and stay persistent and committed to it. Like, so you end up going to do the homework, and it's fun to do the homework. Nothing's better than a subject you love enough that the homework is fun to do. You know what I mean? My preparation to be Eric on the show forever is a little different than that. Like, I don't have to commit as much because the character's so within me already. Like I did all the homework. I'm kind of, it's in that way it's a little easier to say Jimi Hendrix, where I have to separate from who I am, learn the guitar. I learned the guitar. I play guitar now, left-handed, and I was born left-handed. But my mother, being old school, Southerner, made me a right-handed person. So Jimi Hendrix woke me up as a left-handed person, right? So, um, but Eric and Forever is so deep and within me as a father that it's a much easier assignment than being like Jimi Hendrix. But the payoff is greater in that sense, which is interesting. That this role is a lot of me. You know what I'm saying? And actually, it's the greatest payoff I've had of a character, right? My character. So how proverbial is that? Like I'm telling you, you gotta be yourself and all this and that. But the greatest payoff that I've had in my career so far, I mean, maybe the inception is the biggest part, right? Just getting in there. But on this ride, the biggest payoff is has so much to do with just like a performance that has a lot of me in it. So it's just crazy. It's just I have like devout fans who basically they'll never let go of Paid in Full. And Paid in Full is a true story, right? It's important. It's a true story. So you know, no one's calling me Eric. They're gonna call me Ace till the day I die. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna call me Eric all the time. It's too simple. It's Eric. Hey yo, Eric. It doesn't. It's not like saying Ace. But this is what I believe. Um, I think I've portrayed people like Jimi Hendrix, and that's a dark place. In a sense, there's drugs, sex, drugs, rock and roll type thing. And I was Ace. That's killing. That's stealing. That's harming the community in a sense, right? I don't know if those portrayals are gonna take you somewhere else too much. I'm also on Above the Rim, but I'm killing somebody, right? So I'm the bad guy often. But I've done a lot of bio. I've probably done more bio stuff than most people. I've been fathers before. I portray LeBron's coach in Shooting Stars. Wonderful movie about the coach having this phenomenal player and how to give him tutelage. So I've done a lot of different things, but Forever, I believe, has just opened me up to a younger group of people who they're like really invested in the information that comes from Eric or from my father, the fatherliness from me, my character, and even women my age or you know in my age bracket who have kids, they have the nostalgia of being of having a first crush, and also they're looking at it like, well, I'm a parent and I like how this guy is doing this, right? Or I love it. Like I love how he checked Dawn and made sure his son was straight at the same time type shit. So it's pretty amazing to have that responsibility. But you couldn't have picked a better person because I don't have to try. I don't have to go do homework to be Eric. You know what I'm saying? The homework, I did it already. I am a father, and I'm a father that was raised by a man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a different type of father to meet. You know what I'm saying? My mother was there totally and raised us also, 100%. But my father was like the head of the household. And therefore, me and my brother were raised essentially and mostly by a man. You know? And it's different. Most people don't even meet women. You never meet men raised by men. You meet men raised by in a single parent household a lot of the times, and it was a woman. That's a big difference, bro. That's a big difference. You meet a man who has had visitation from a father. That's a lot different, right? My son is raised by a man. He's not raised by a woman, singularly, I should say. Of course, both. But I am the head, bro. I'm the brains of the operation, and not a dictator. Not like I. Please, like I'm. I don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? I like to say I know nothing. You know, so, but I trust myself, and I trust the woman I'm with, right? So, to me, I let her do her thing. You know what I'm saying? And I do my thing, and it just is what it is. But they're raised by a man essentially. So there you go. There is a 50-50 component, right? I don't want to make it seem like it's lopsided component, but it's apples and oranges, right? It's just apples and oranges. And I think what a man infuses into a boy is fucking important. You understand? What a man infuses into a boy is goddamn important, bro. So important. Like, for instance, fathers have a hard time making like a single parent home that is you're a single parent, and that single parent is a mom, right? That's a lot different than a single parent father ran home. And I'm talking about statistically, right? So how many strippers are going to come out of a single parent father home? A lot less. A lot less, right? How many little thugs is going to come out of a single parent when your mother's a single and you 15, your mother can't tell you shit? A lot. So it's necessary. You need the male energy and the female energy in order to have a balanced child at all. And not saying you need to go try to have balance. You can't try to have balance. All you can do is give what you give. They take what they want, and they start down their path. And hopefully, what's been given to them from both sides, the male and the female in a child's life. They sponge some from mom, they sponge some from dad. You know what I'm saying? And what you see in Forever is my son sponging. They like what my son sponged from me in the first season of Forever, right? But those are very essential and very important things for balance. So I don't want to make it look like it's not an unbalanced thing. You need women. You need the mother to speak into the child what is necessary to teach. Because really, she's doing the first teaching for sure. She's doing actually most of the teaching, but it's her perspective. What the male needs to impart is ideological stuff, right? Ideological shape of your child. And you ain't got to actually be there all the time, like, to do that. But you do have to be smart enough to do it, right? Because, you might be working 12, 13-hour days, or you might have you might be divorced or whatever, You still need to be, in my opinion, able to shape your kid's thinking and be smart enough to figure that out. So you make a kid that don't have to rely on, his friends can't just make him a motherfucking thug. His friend can't turn him into a weed smoker at 12 and shit. You know what I'm saying? His friends got it going on, so now he got it going on. That's too easy, right? But it's not as prevalent in households where there's a man there, so it's a lot less of that. So that's kind of what you're seeing on the show Forever, You're seeing a little bit of balance. If I had to narrow down the top 3 lessons of my dad, my father was old school. Like, if my father was alive now, he'd be 90-something years old. Like, he'd be older than your mom. My father would be 94 if he was alive right now. And what I mean, 3 things my father imparted to me. My dad was really big on us not being simps and wimps and stuff like that. I just had an old school father. Like, I used to draw, right? I remember one time I drew this flower, and it was well drawn. I drew it was beautiful. It was well done. It looked just like I looked at the flower, and I was able to sketch it with my hands. I was probably like 9 years old. And my father saw it and balled that shit up. Balled it up immediately, right? And I was hurt by it. Literally, I was hurt by it. And he threw it out. Why? Because he thought that was weak shit to be doing, right? He thought that was weak. So I learned from that, though. Like, listen, the lessons come. It's not always somebody saying, well, here I am to give you a lesson. The lesson came from whatever dissertation it was, right? Like I said, they sponge from you whatever they get from you. And from that, I understood more about what my father thought was important. And it wasn't me drawing, like, flowers. Like, he found education to be very important, right? So, I went all the way to grad school. I got into Yale. That was my father. And my mother. But it was certainly my dad. I like talking about the father part because I think it's not discussed enough, right? I don't mean to at all undermine the mother's role, because that is the most prominent role most of the time, even if the mother and father are there, right? In the same household. The mother has the most prominent role all the time, at least up until a certain age, right? But when a kid becomes like a young teen, like you got a boy that's a young teen and you're the father of him, that's an awesome world, and it's so different. Like, you got to hold on to be there when that guy's a teen, because it's going to be cool. But when you have a 1-year-old and 2-year-old, sometimes a male can be a little bit, you feel like, let me let her do a lot, because that's a baby, right? You know what I'm saying? And she's going to be, she's going to be great with that baby. So you can't even separate her from the baby. It's a lot. So let her do everything she wants to do 100% with that baby. And for those first formative years, to be honest with you, up until 7 years old even, that's the first block of formative years, 1 through 7, or, life through 7, right? And what your mother infuses is so important, right? And your dad, but it's your mother. And then it's after those first 7 years that I feel like the father's role could be sort of like put in there. ingested into the kid, you know. And some of the ideas will come. You'll be talking to the woman that's raising your kids, so it's not like she's just doing it alone for 7 years. You still have an opinion about everything, but I feel like you definitely have to allow like the mom to like do her thing, bro. She first of all she carried a baby. Hello, she carried a baby for 9 months. She birthed a child. You guys made a human. Yeah, you gotta let her do everything, man. It's such a big deal to give birth, right? It's sort of like I don't know if people look at it that way. It's such a big deal. Like you actually put another person on earth. You made a being, a human being. That's deep, right? And listen, most people can't take care of a plant for 6 months. The plant will die within 6 months. But with a human, instincts come into part. So you got to take care of this kid. You know the kid got to learn some good stuff and eat some good stuff. That's it at first. You need to learn something good for you, eat something good for you, and watch love happen around you. That's really it. You can be poor and do that. You have to do that though. You have to give them like, love. Love is an act verb like I'm saying. So if you're giving your kid healthy food, it's love. If you're making them drink water and taking the soda away, that's love. That's loving your kid. Like, you gotta give it to me. Okay, that's not love. Cause it's got chemicals in it that hurt the kid. So to me, giving your kid some avocado and not so much pork is love. Period. It's love. Water and not so much soda is love. That's the thing you have to do, in my opinion, to make a healthy-minded kid too. Not Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch ain't gonna do it. I love Captain Crunch though. Growing up, yo, Captain Crunch, stop it. You kidding me, bro? Captain Crunch. I would say the third thing that my father really gave me and my brother too. My brother, he has all these things, even more so because I'm the youngest. So I just was rebellious. I'm able to talk about my father with 20/20 vision, but I was rebellious. And I'm blessed and lucky, both of those, to just have anything. Because I wasn't like, I'm not trying to front like, it wasn't like I was like, yep, dad told me to do it, so I did it. No. Like when I was growing up, my dad, he had two jobs. He had to go to work in the morning, right? So at night, they'd tell me to wash the dishes. My brother, when they told him, he went in there, washed the dishes, put them on the thing. But I knew my dad was going to leave mad early, right? I knew he wouldn't really pay attention, but to go in there and look at shit. Like, okay, I don't see no dishes in the sink, so it must be good, right? Because they wouldn't open the thing and look like, oh, he put the dishes up. So I used to take the dishes and put them shits in the oven, bro. Go to sleep, man. I used to clean the sink out and put them all in the oven so that I could do it later. So it ain't like I'm telling you, you got to be perfect. You just have to be available. You have to be available, right? You don't have to be, you're not going to be perfect. And I wasn't a kid like my brother. My brother did everything he was told, right when they told. Like when my brother, listen, I went to Resurrection, the same school Isaiah Thomas went to. He had a magical basketball team, right? My brother was on the greatest basketball team from that school. He made the team and he was on it. They went and played a game I'll be quick with the story. They played a game against a team, and it was a championship game. They were undefeated. When they showed up to the gym, in the lobby of the gym, there was nobody in the lobby, so the team enters, right? The coaches went to the offices, so nothing but the kids were in the lobby. They discovered a case of grape sodas, right? So they discovered this case of grape sodas. So all the teammates went and they stole grape sodas. Everybody cracked open a grape pop, right? My brother didn't, okay? My brother didn't, all right? So then when the game started, they were losing. So my brother goes to the coach. He's like, listen, you got to play me because if you don't play me, we're going to lose this game. Why? He didn't want to tell why, but the reason why was because they stole the sodas. And guess what the team did? He didn't play my brother, and they lost. And they lost. So my brother's always had high morals, and that's my big brother. So the design is in me, but if it wouldn't have been for my big brother the way he is, and my father the way he is, and my mother the way he is, I put the dishes in the oven. You dig? I did not do what I was told. I did not wash the dishes. I put them shits in the oven, bro. I'm doing this later. I broke out the house when I was a kid. I broke out of the house so I can go hoop at 1 a.m. My homie live across the street from the park, right? Whenever the park lights was on by mistake, he'd be like, yo, what? Maybe you had a landline. Yo, dog, they got the lights on. I'm coming out. So I open a window, bro, because the doors are like, so I'm opening windows, breaking out the crib in Chicago after midnight, any day of the week, bro. And we ain't doing shit. We ain't the kids who out there smoking weed and doing shit. We 10 years old and 11 years, 12 years. We weren't doing that. We were literally just playing ball. One time I came home and the window, because I'm sneaking out the window and I'm crawling back into that motherfucker too, because I can't use the door. I go back to the window, it's locked. My dad opened the door, because I'm fucking with the window and shit. He opened the door. I walk inside. Where were you? I told him, man, I just went to the park. He was so mad at me. He was so mad at me, dog. And my father wasn't like the type to punch you or beat you up like that. He'd give you a whooping though. I'm from the era, I got mad whoopings as a kid, because it's like, I'm from that generation where, you got a whooping with a belt, bro. Like, I got whoopings because I was like putting the dishes in the oven. So I got whoopings more than Steve, right? But man, just he crushed me with that look. So those are the lessons I learned. Like, I didn't learn lessons because my dad was so proper giving me my lesson. I was available for the lessons. You know what I'm saying? They came with hard message lines, to be honest with you. This is Wood Harris, and you are checking out 24/7 HH. Peace.